Hello, I'm Phil Svitek, 360 Creative Coach, and in this episode, I want to give you a challenge that comes from Matthew McConaughey. More specifically, it comes from his Greenlights book, which is a phenomenal book that I highly encourage you to check out. Now, what this challenge is to be less impressed and more involved. Okay? So what this means is, too often in life, we look to somebody else to do something for us. Or, as artists, we can't do something because of, budgetary constraints or resource constraints and so forth, right? And we're kind of impressed by other people doing amazing things, but we never take that shot on ourselves. And it's like, don't become more involved, or you see somebody doing great work and they're kind of looking for perhaps, like they're hiring. Why not reach out? Why not apply for that position as opposed to being, oh, I'm not qualified or something like that, So it works in a number of ways, but ultimately, as I see it, it's to get you off your ass. As creatives, I think we're so incredibly creative at coming up with reasons why, why we shouldn't do something, why we're not good at something, and so forth, why something's going to fail, why it's a bad idea, you name it, right? When just really get in the game and do it. And that's kind of, it's a thing that is beneficial to your art, but it's certainly a thing that's beneficial in just life. And when I use the word impressed, it doesn't have to be necessarily, like, it can be both positive and negative. I think politically, oftentimes we just kind of just write off of like, okay, we don't have the power, and we just let other people, other leaders, whether elected officials or just people within the community, do that stuff for us. And it's like, no, be less impressed and more involved. And that doesn't mean you're disrespectful to any of that stuff, to a person or whatever, institution and so forth, but be involved, because, it's that kind of cliche thing. No one starts off being great at what they are, right? There's still steps to get you to that point. And oftentimes when I coach the various people that I do, I say, okay, great. Whoever your idol is, that's fantastic, but work backwards. Where did they start off with? So you want to be Beyonce. Great. But how did she really look at how she got there and orchestrated to the point at which she is today that you idolize, or whoever. And it was actually something very specific for me. Like when I did Idol, my movie, my feature film, I was very specific, and I watched a lot of directors' first-time movies. Because my goal was not to, and these were directors I respected, with Robert Rodriguez, Christopher Nolan, Wong Kar-wai, and so on, right? I was very deliberate in watching their first movies because I was like, I want to know the steps they took to get to where they are recognizable names, at least for me, and so it was like, okay, I don't want to make like this. I want to make a great movie, but I want to make a great movie just like they made their first film, and their first films are truly wonderful, and so but there's still a little bit less pressure of that of a first movie versus where they're at now. And it's a stepping stone. But I had to get involved, right? I had to just do it. And so that's what this is really ultimately about. It's about taking that first step. So be less impressed in life and become more involved. Now there's part of the thing is there's a lot of ways to interpret this, right? I gave you a few, but I'm curious also from your perspective, right? As kind of that initial first step, after listening to this, comment, whether down below in the comment section, or hit me up on social media at Phil Svitek to let me know what becoming less impressed and more involved means for you. I would love to, hear your perspective. I really would. That would be cool. So please do that. And that's my challenge to you, because once you can define it, then of course I'm going to want you to do it, right? I'm going to try to hold you accountable in that way because you've written it down. Anyway, that's what I have for you. If you think this episode might be of benefit to somebody in your life, by all means, please share it with them. I certainly would appreciate it. I appreciate you, and best of luck.